So as you can see, it's powering up. This is a off-the-shelf APC Backups XS 1000. If you run it anywhere near the maximum, the transformer is going to get very hot. We're derating it. We're running it at about half, a little less than half continuous, and it runs perfectly okay. We cycle through the options on the menu. It shows 115 volts. Shows no watts, no load. We're running it off of a pair of 35 amp hour batteries, lead acid wired in series, 24 volts total. And we've got a battery balancer connected to these series connected pair of batteries. This ensures that the batteries are charged pretty much equally. Now we have a quartz electric heater. There is a 429 watt drain power consumption from the heater. The transformer is going to get hot. The transistors won't, because there's a cooling fan in front of it. So if you're going to run anywhere above 300 watts, it's good to just run it for a few minutes at a time. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're showing that it's capable of handling that power level. We've run this inverter, modified inverter, up to 600 watts without any problems for about 5 to 7 minutes at a time. So as you take a look here, see the power cord is attached to the back. Let's turn the power down to only half. Now we have it only running on one element. You see it's down to 220 watts. This is the back panel of the inverter. On the bottom is the power cord connection, which was used to power up the inverter. We pulled the cable out from the inside, from the circuit board, and we just removed the cable. This will have to be covered up at some point. And we also have two new holes that were put in here for the binding posts. This is where the battery power connections get hooked up. And these are 3/8 inch diameter. They are large, but these are capable of handling the current. In fact, more than capable of handling the current that this thing uses. At 24 volts operating voltage, it pulls about 30 amps or so. And this cutout here used to be the surge protectors for the telephone jacks. Probably in both cases we'll cover up with plastic sheets cut to size and screwed in place. This is the battery compartment of the UPS. And if you notice inside, no more batteries, but we've got a single 24 volt DC cooling fan. This is located about the middle in front of the two power transistors and heat sinks. And this forces air straight across the transistors to cool things down. And on the top of the UPS unit, we've got some hollow vents, and this allows the hot air to flow right out. And of course, this is one of the two original batteries. They were a pair that were originally fitted side by side in this compartment. Taking a look at the inside, here we see the cooling fan again, and one of the big challenges with converting a UPS unit to running as an inverter is keeping it cool. So you notice these 4 blocks, there's 4 power transistors mounted, one on each block, and the fan is right in front of it. So it blows cool air, and the air comes right out. The ventilation slits right on the top. You definitely want cooling, because a UPS unit is not meant to run for a long period of time. Otherwise it's going to start overheating. So to keep it from overheating, you have to have adequate cooling, which is why we have a fan. But also, if you're going to run it continuously, you want to make sure that you run it at a lower load than what the unit was originally capable of. So it says 1000 VA on the front panel. That's about 600 watts. So you don't want to run it at a constant 600 watts, but you want to run it maybe at half that. And for our purposes, just for running small stuff like heaters, small electric cookers, computers, those small devices, 300 watts is more than sufficient. And you notice also that our power cables black negative, red positive, going to the circuit board. We went ahead and replaced the original cables that came into the battery compartment, where we had the 2 lead acid batteries. They were attached up using much thinner cables. We used 8-gauge cables because these can handle the 35-40 amps, 24 volts, no problem. We just had to make the holes a little bigger on a circuit board to put these cables through, and we soldered everything in place. And I don't know if you noticed, but you see the cooling fan is attached to the circuit board also. There is a relay that gets energized when it's running off the 24-volt battery power. When that relay coil is energized, that same power connection for the relay coil powers up the fan. So whenever the relay clicks after turning it on, for about maybe 15-20 seconds, it powers on the fan. And also when you shut off the unit, when you hit the power switch and turn it off, the fan runs for about another 15-20 seconds more, cooling it down. Then eventually a timeout circuit de-energizes the relay coil, which also cuts power to the fan. And looking along at these wires, you see the positive and negative cables soldered to the circuit board, supply 24 volts. They're going out to the back panel, 3/8-inch binding posts. And in the back here, we've got our circuit breaker. Of course, this is wired to the output of the inverter circuit. So originally it was 15 amps running off of the line connection that powered the UPS unit, but the power capacity here is going to be limited to 600 watts. So we went ahead and used a breaker appropriately sized for 600 watts max power. A little higher, about 125%, so about around 7 amps or so. And you notice that the layout is pretty cluttered and crowded, but this is what we had to work with. So when you thread cables through here, you want to make sure that the cables, as thick as they are, don't bump into any of these capacitors or transistors, because if the cables bump into them, they can easily snap and break those parts. So you have to be very careful as you're putting these wires back in. And of course, here's our transformer that steps up the low voltage generated by these transistors, steps it up into 120 volts AC. On the circuit board, you see some unused connections. There are a couple of these here. These were the ones related to the surge protection side and the battery charging side of the UPS unit itself. We just disabled connections we didn't need. Since this is no longer being used as a UPS unit, just an inverter, we didn't need these connections, among others. Even if this wound up producing a low power inverter, so something with only about 300 watts continuous power, that would still be useful. When it comes to solar power, we realize that you can never have too many batteries, and you can never have too many inverters. And not every application requires a 1,000-watt inverter. In fact, a lot of what we run uses low power, so we can very easily run our small devices and appliances, especially our computers and phone chargers, off of a 300-watt continuous unit. If you were to buy all the parts, like the 8-gauge wires on the inside, the 6-amp 120-volt circuit breaker, the binding posts, the 24-volt DC cooling fan, if you were to buy all of that, it would cost you probably around $40 for all the parts. Something like this, which normally would get thrown away because this belonged to a customer and the batteries had gone out on it, this would have normally been thrown in the trash, because typically the customer finds it cheaper to buy a new UPS unit than to replace the batteries and fix an existing unit. So for us, we just took what was meant for the landfill and we modified it and repurposed it, and we got this to work as a 600-watt peak and 300-watt continuous inverter.